verdedig nie. Ons staan nie een kant nie. Ons staan saam met hom, met die Here ons God, ons skepper. En ons sê, dankie Here, dat ons deur U die oorwinning sal behaal.
Hey folks, welcome back to Ndaba Africa. This is Chris once again with yet another update on events taking place in South Africa. In the midst of an endless number of marches and protests and demonstrations against a horrific ongoing reality of a domestic terrorist campaign against commercial white farmers in South Africa, yet another protest took place today. This one, a small one in Pretoria and Hatfield, next to the American embassy there, just off of what used to be known as Schoolman and now known as Francis Bart. So at the U.S. Embassy this morning, the 30th of October at 9 o'clock in the morning, a group known as Patriots for Minorities gathered to deliver a letter to the American Embassy addressed to the President of the United States, Donald Trump, of course, who is running for re-election this week and will be facing a challenge on the 2nd or the 3rd of November, this Tuesday, just a couple of days away. But they delivered this letter from the United Liberty Alliance. This is one of the secession groups based in the Western Cape looking for secession from South Africa. And so it's a letter addressed to the president. But a small gathering of folks, including some prominent personalities, including Isaak van Zyl, were present in Hatfield for this demonstration this morning. Now, I took a look at the American Embassy website. There was a notification about the Black Monday protests and a potential march near the embassy on Sunday to warn the American community, because whenever demonstrations take place, whether they're peaceful or not, there may be counter-protesters, and there's always the danger of either clogging traffic or physical danger to employees of the mission. So it's normal for the embassy to warn American citizens and the public, general public, and also for its community when there's a demonstration scheduled. Well, this demonstration took place, and there's no notification of it. So the embassy obviously didn't take it very seriously or wasn't concerned about it. But a small demonstration taking place on the side street that runs just in front of the American Embassy building there in Hatfield and Pretoria. A group of people gathered in support of Donald Trump. It's fascinating to watch South Africans who are rooting for Trump to win free election. But this is a copy of the letter here, the actual letter that was delivered. As I mentioned, this is a protest by Patriots for Minorities, Patriot vir Minderhede, on the 30th of October. And this was a farm protest outside the American Embassy. Unlike the protest by the economic freedom fighters in which they stood out in front of the embassy not all that long ago, toying and screaming, one bullet, one American, one bullet, one American, and allowed to go about their business despite promulgating, inciting, that's the word we want, inciting violence and murder of Americans. They got away with that. Not exactly free speech, hate speech, and no charges, no one prosecuted for it. But this letter from United Liberty Alliance, the president, Hein Marx, and the vice president of the organization, Elroy Barron, of United Liberty Alliance, delivered this letter to the embassy this morning, and it was addressed to the president. I won't read all of it, but a couple of things here. It says, with the 1994 peaceful transition of governments, your American delegates were signatory witnesses to Nelson Mandela ANC's formal agreement during acceptance of the 1994 Afrikaner Self-Determination Accord for our Afrikaner nation's own homeland country, which we now rightfully claim due to the continuous failing and corrupt ANC government over the past 26 years since their rise to power. And it goes on here with many other things, asking for Mike Pompeo's intervention. We wholeheartedly support you to expose the criminal activities and stand in solidarity with you. They should be held accountable for the COVID-19 virus pandemic. It's talking about the Chinese Communist Party in this letter. And then the last paragraph there, we therefore plead with you, Mr. President, to allocate a task force under the leadership of the very appreciated and respected Mr. Mike Pompeo to closely work with the United Liberty Alliance to investigate and realize this remarkable opportunity to benefit all the peoples of South Africa, as well as their beloved friend and ally, the United States of America. Now, what's noteworthy about this is less so the letter. It's not unusual for groups to deliver letters to the American Embassy for the President of the United States. Whether they ever see them or not is another question. What is interesting and noteworthy about this event is yet another peaceful gathering of South Africans to seek redress or get attention for the plight of the horrific phenomena of farm murders in South Africa. Peaceful demonstration, no property destroyed, no rubbish left behind, people gathering and discussing and asking for help with their plight. Yet again, similar situations taking place in repeated rallies and support across South Africa over the past several weeks, including the amazing biker rally that took place with 41,000 motorcycle riders riding around Gauteng and past the Union buildings in Pretoria, the seat of government there. In addition to that, the next week, and that was also played out in Cape Town and Nelson Mandela Bay and Durban, up in Mpumalanga and elsewhere. But the following week, there was another rally of motor vehicles around Pretoria once again, this time clogging traffic. Then there was the Withuis Monument, the sad occasion each year, an annual event in which new crosses are added to the monument outside of Polokwane in the northern part of the old Transvaal, where people who are brutally murdered on commercial farms are paid tribute with a white cross, the Withuis White Cross Monument. And then after that, we've had other things, including the recent Black Monday protests, which has been going on since 2017. That took place in Cape Town, in Paarl, in Jeffreys Bay, and other locations around South Africa, and a formal protest against the government's inaction dealing with farm murders in South Africa. Well, folks, that's why this is noteworthy. It's a topic that is not going to go away, a topic that's been simmering for the better part of 2 decades now. Of course, these farm murders predate the end of apartheid, but they picked up pace after 1994, and especially after 2000. They really gained pace, and thousands of people have lost their lives, men, women, and children, mostly white South Africans, Afrikaans-speaking South Africans, but not exclusively. Also Indians, coloreds, and blacks have been murdered on these farms, farm workers, farm managers, and farm owners who were not white. It is a horrific situation, and it is a clear effort to undermine the safety and security of the nation as well as its food supply, and also a domestic terrorist campaign clearly underway this year in 2020 without any doubt. There's domestic terrorism campaign underway to drive people off the farms, being incited by people like the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters, who continually runs around and sings a song banned as hate speech, Kill the Boer, and does so with such impunity, singing the song in English so that we all understand what he's saying and it's clear to the world. In addition to that, in Senegal on the 16th of October, his number 3 for his little party got up and sang a song in Zulu with English words in there, making sure we all understood what he said. Burn the Boer, burn them down, burn them out. Call the fire brigade, burn them down. Yeah. Within 48 hours, 247,000 acres in the northern Free State were torched. Farms, tractors, crops, livestock, killed, destroyed. Total carnage. It wasn't the only location in South Africa, but that was where the bulk of this was happening, with arsonists out there. Folks, what's happening in South Africa is horrific, and each and every protest that happens does matter. Now, this is a small group, one I hadn't heard of before, and a small protest, but each one does matter, and the world must know. Folks, the world must know. Hashtag the world must know what is happening in South Africa. Well, folks, that's just a reportage on today's events taking place in Hatfield, Pretoria, outside the American Embassy on the 30th of October 2020. Small protests, including some prominent members of the community, including Isaak van Zyl, who were present to show their support for President Donald Trump and also to call for his help with the situation in South Africa. And of course, as I mentioned, a letter delivered by the United Liberty Alliance to the President. Well, folks, if you're not a subscriber to Chris White Africa, I ask you to take a second and smash that like button. Well, yeah, do the like button, but smash the subscription button right there and become a subscriber. Make sure you push the bell icon to get notified of updates. Feel free to leave a comment and then smash the like button, because likes drive viewership. Thank you very much, folks. The world must know.
It's Friday, the 30th of October, 2020. Kurt Mauser here at the United States of America Embassy in Pretoria. A crowd has gathered in support of President Donald Trump. We have various speakers on the ground here today. Very small police presence. And the purpose of today's gathering, according to the organizers, is to, one, bring attention to the crime, the murders on the farms that is heading towards a genocide, and on the other hand to express our support and our thanks to President Trump, who has brought international attention to this situation.